What is up guys, Patrick here, and today we are going to try and fix a problem with Classic Minis. So as you know, Classic Minis, pretty basic, doesn't even have, for example, a charging port or a cigarette lighter as they used to be known. So I have bought this off eBay, or was it Amazon, one of the two. It was about £10, comes with all the fittings, but the best thing about this, as you can see on the top there, that's a 12-volt charger, that's 2 USBs. So really what most people use these chargers, these 12-volt chargers now for, is simply for USB ports anyway. So rather than getting two of these or just one of those, I thought I'd get it with 2 USB ports too. Now the problem comes when you come out to the car, because as you well know, there's not really anywhere to put something like that. So you've got this big gap in the dashboard here. Hang on, you're a bit dirty. You've got this big gap in the dashboard here. As you can see here, I've got my phone holder. I just have a small problem with the hazard lights at the moment, so let's move those bits out the way. Over here you've got this phone holder that I've attached, so you put your phone in like that, and it just sits there. But whilst I was looking at that, I noticed this panel here, this piece of vinyl. So this bit comes out, as the entire dashboard does, this bit here. And you can see in there, it's just a blank space. Probably enough room to install that charger. So rather than ruining this piece here, which is original, I have come up with a cunning plan. So let's go back into the garage and I'll discuss my idea. So as you can see here, this piece is pretty bent and it fits to form. And that's a problem with using this material here that I have, which I thought would be perfect. It's just whiteboard. So we can trace the shape of this, but the problem is, like I said, you've got these rounded bits here, and you've also got this colour. If we made it back into this white stuff, it'd look a bit rubbish. So I've got something for that too. Now where is it? I think it's going to be in here. So these are all my mini parts. Right, here we go. So I managed to source some material which kind of looks exactly the same. It needs to be a bit of a clean, so it goes back to a darker black. But if I was to attach this to here and build this as a shape like that, and then attach that into there, I wouldn't ruin the original piece, but I'd also have my needed USB chargers for my phone, for sat navs, for stuff like that. So that's the plan. First thing I'm going to do is draw around this and then cut a piece out, check it fits in the car. If it doesn't, make amendments and then go from there. So here's one I prepared earlier. If you look at this here, you can see the outline, that dotted line. Let's move the camera up a bit if I can. That dotted line around here is showing this bend in this material down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out. This shape here, basic shape of this, you see it kind of matches lovely. And I'm just going to see if this, as it is, fits in the gap. If not, I'll make amendments and we will make the perfect shape basically. So let's go. So here is our basic shape. As you can see, it fits perfectly-ish this shape here. So let's go try and fit this in the car and see what happens. So you should be able to see that gap in the dash now. Now, if I remember correctly, the way this works is like that, I believe. Yeah, like that. You can see how it fits in the dashboard there. This rounded bit goes at the top, so my piece should go in like this. I think my first issue is going to be definitely that top piece simply won't obviously bend with this piece, and it means it needs to be cut. So yeah, I think first thing we're going to do is cut this top piece along here, just get rid of it completely, because like I said, that's the bent piece. Worst comes to the worst, we'll just attach two pieces together. Rather than it being a natural bend, it would just be a deliberate bend. So let's go back in the garage and get that cut. Right, we are back. Let's put that down. Like that. this line against here. Completely off. Okay, cut that bit off now. That bit's gone. Now let's go back to the car. See if this bit fits. That line there was the one we just cut. See how this fits. Okay, so as you can see here, this piece fits nice. I'm just feeling it. You can't really see. I don't know if you can be able to see much more, but this piece fits quite well at the back there. Nice and snugly against the edge. It's a bit of a weird shape up here, and then obviously this bit's poking out, but that bit would need to go behind the dashboard. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so after playing around with it for a bit there, the biggest thing I can see is there's a gap up there that needs to be filled in, and there is a gap here obviously that needs to be filled in. This also would need to be bent either into this fascia because it's all blank space behind here, or it means taking this forward. I'm not sure how easy it is to take that out. That means taking that forward, putting this piece in once it's completed, and then just leaving it like that. But working out the back here, you can see it fits nice and snug. If we were to have that material, it would fit lovely against the black here, and then obviously on that fascia there you can imagine having the dials. So let's go back, make an amendment, maybe stick some pieces together or just cut another piece and see if that fits. Right, so I've just added some directions to this, so don't forget which way around everything is. So as discussed before, there needs to be a bit added up here, and I might cut down the front at first just to make sure it fits. But if I remember correctly, it needs to be a bit kind of like up here to fit that gap. And then, what was the other thing? So after going back and looking again, I think what I'm actually going to do is use this piece here and attach that to this here and make a lip like that, because that's how the original one goes, just like this. And then I'll see how that works. I'm going to go retry it in the car in a second once I've cut this down to size. Now that offers the same lip, albeit a bit bigger than this other piece here, but it's flexible as well, so hopefully this should help attaching it to the car. I'm still skeptical about this front bit here. I might need to cut that down too and offer the same flexibility, but let's go into the car and see what happens. Excuse the wind noise, it's very windy and wet out today. Right, put you guys down. First thing it looks like I need to do is cut this bit here much shorter because it doesn't really fit into the gap. So I'm going to do that. I won't take the camera with me this time, it's only a quick cut, but I'll be back in a second. Right, so I've cut this piece down now, as you can see, much shorter. It was double that height before, so see if it goes in this time. So push the bottom back in first. Okay, so this time what it looks like is, I thought this would be the case, this front top bit here needs to be cut back because this bit protrudes further than the dials at the top here. So let me go cut that quickly and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've now cut this down across and height, and I think this should be much better now. Let's try this. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that from there, so I will go overseas so you can see this much better. But if you look there, you can see how that would in theory fit in. The back is good, This front bit here, I'm still wondering if I should try and, I don't know how easy this front bit is to come off. It doesn't seem to pull off. It looks like it's bolted on at the back there. So be interested to get that piece in there though, get that front piece in, make sure it actually fits. But apart from that, I'm pretty happy with how that's shaping up. So the next issue we've got here is this front bit here needs a bit of a taller angle, so I'm just simply going to cut this here. I'm not going to do too much measuring or working out, because I think it literally just needs a diagonal cut along here. So I might actually also cut this front bit down, not all the way through. So if I add some tape to the other side of this before I cut it, once it bends and like cuts itself, it should stay, look, like that. Perfect. So now I've got these two bendy bits, kind of make this shape here, which I think is the shape I'm going to need to get into that gap. This one I'll make flat again. Sorry, this one here I'll make flat again. Let me actually add another piece of tape to this. So now we've got a slightly bendy front piece, which we can still make straight. And we've got this top piece, which is completely flexible, but cut off at this corner, so it fits in the gap. So let's go back in the car and see if this fits. Okay, so you guys should now be able to see exactly what I'm seeing when I try and put something like this in. So I can't remember how I put it in before. I think it's like this. But you can see it goes in. That's this front bit go in. Come on. I think it might be a bit tall. Oh no. Are we good? Okay, so as you can see here, I've just been messing around with this piece for a little bit, like 5 minutes or so, just to see what the fit is like. And apart from this gap down here, which I showed you previously, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I've moved this seal up here across. It wasn't as far as across, but I still think that works well. This bit could do with even being a little longer rather than shorter to fit into the dashboard there. But apart from that, I'm pretty happy. So let me go into the garage again. I'm going to try and fabricate a new version and see what happens. Blessed,